because nobody can hear you in there. Or just scream or something, or even
I'm
just I mean,
I'm
I
just
don't know if this is
imagining.
suppressing an emotion.
I know. Okay, I'm just imagining
Go ahead.
Eric. I'm just imagining Eric being like, "Guys, I'll be right back. I need to go to the freezer and grab some things," and then she just. All right, guys, I'm back.
Hey, like, I know it's like we said, it's this thing that like makes our week or whatever, but I just kind of feel like I'm over it. You guys are just kind of boring, and can we just record another time? Welcome back to the Better Friends podcast. My name is Johnny Corcoran.
I'm Eric
My-
Feist,
I'm Corey Stockman, and I'm offended.
and screw you, Johnny.
Absolutely brutal.
So now that we know my genuine feelings about this recording, and there's no trace of sarcasm in my voice
Whatever.
at all, so please don't pick up on that. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, what are we
We are
talking
gonna-
about, Corey?
Oh, fine. You know what? Okay. We're going to be talking about burnout and all of its symptoms and glory within burnout. We're going to be talking about COVID burnout. We're going to be talking about empathy burnout. We've got a lot on our docket today. We're talking about allowing ourselves, completing our feelings, and even getting into a little bit of comparative suffering.
Wow.
So what is burnout now that you just read out our fucking
Hey, I just want to be transparent with our
Sorry,
audience.
I didn't know I was attending a presentation, Corey. God.
Yeah, do you want me to show you some of my pieces of art for presentation?
Make
Because you
sure
guys
have
didn't
a
appreciate
TED
it
Talk
earlier.
logo in the background. TEDx
I'll be
presentation. Damn.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put a TEDx right here.
Okay.
So burnout, how we define burnout is it is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. You might feel as though that you are just so drained and don't feel motivated to do what you like to do anymore. So, for example, for me, I am currently substitute teaching, and I do it a lot. And with that, I don't necessarily get my own classroom. So I am going from school to school, meeting new and different students almost every day. And some schools I do have the same students, but like sometimes I just meet new students every single day. And that's a lot for me to take in because I'm trying to learn names. I actually genuinely care for these students even though I just met them. And that's just a lot of like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of emotional drain on me because I am learning so many different things, new names, new people, etc. Like it's just a lot. But
What about the girl breaking her leg?
oh my gosh.
Sorry, I
Yes.
just want it.
Yeah, okay. So yesterday I was subbing at Jackson Middle School, which is in Champlin, and I was subbing for a 6th grade Phi Ed class, and we were playing this game called Soccer. It's a mix between hockey, soccer, and basketball. And I look away,
Wow.
like, down the side of the gym for literally 2 seconds, and then I turn back, and the girl is on the floor. And I'm just like, what? And she's crying. And I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And then students start gathering. And I'm like, no, turn off the music. Everybody give her space, give her space. And then I go up to her and she is like holding her leg. And I'm like, okay, so her leg hurts. Like she might have twisted an ankle or something like that, sprained some sort of muscle. And I look at her kneecap and it's on the side of her leg. Yeah, so like where your kneecap is normally, right here, you know? Yeah, it was over here on the side of her leg. So I was like, yeah, okay, so not a sprained ankle, so that's not good. So I called the nurse and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna need to get a wheelchair and potentially call an ambulance because this girl is gonna need her kneecap put back into place. And usually also what results in a kneecap displacement is also a torn meniscus, which results in surgery. And that age where surgery is needed is pretty rough, because you still have a lot of muscular growth to go through when you're 12 years old. So I'm hoping the best for her, honestly. But like, that was a really good learning point for me, because not only was it just like I had to like be so physically like attentive and like just aware of everything that was happening, like her best friend was also in the class. So like after she left, her friend was sitting in a corner crying for the rest of the period. And I was like, I tried my best to console her with, how are you doing? Like, let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. Like, I went through a very similar experience when I tore my ACL in high school. I understand what it might feel like in her shoes. So knowing that you are there for her is really reassuring for her. So make sure that you're giving her like the support that she needs, and I know you will. And like, she did feel better and whatnot after I said some reassuring words. But like, that kind of like dives into what we're gonna kind of go into, which is empathy burnout. And I know the three of us are very much empaths with what that feels like. So Eric, I'm gonna have you kind of, because I honestly feel like Eric is the most empathetic out of all of us, because he's very much takes on everybody's emotional. I honestly think that. I think he very much mirrors and takes on people's energies and emotions. So if you feel as though you have any form of comments on empathy burnout, or like feeling as though you're exhausted or feel exhausted from other people's emotions, like, have you ever experienced something like that?
Wow. Thanks for thinking that. First, I just want to say, Johnny, would you say you're empathetic? I saw a reaction on your face.
No, Johnny's not empathetic at all. He hates us.
Exactly. No. I would say that I am empathetic, but it's not usually my first reaction. I was explaining this to someone recently, how a lot of times when I see someone hurting themselves because of their own stupidity, my first reaction is usually to laugh. And then when I realize that everyone around me doesn't think that it's hilarious and is going like, oh, then I'm like, oh. But my first reaction is to bust up.
Corey, you saying that surprised me, actually, because like, or maybe that's you just pushing it off yourself, but I truly think the same of you. You're very, very, very empathetic. I'm like, what? Anyway, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I have had that before, where especially being an RA, just taking on those emotions, being way too invested in what the person is going through. If you've got like a rough home life, like their partner is being abusive to them, and just hearing this, and obviously like I personally haven't had that kind of experience, but imagining the pain that they're going through and just like wanting to help in any kind of way, and then not being able to, is just terrible. It's a terrible feeling. So I've had that, and then running a business for someone, I guess, hearing everything that's going through. There's just a ton of high schoolers that work for me, and I get it. I know what they're going through, and just, for example, if someone has to quit because of something going on, pisses me off. But in the end, I'm just like trying to like help out these people, and like, I mean, it ends up with me working 55, 60 hours. But like, in the end, I feel like a better person just because I know it's making their life better because they have to do something. But I don't know. I don't know really what to say to that, actually. I feel like that's
No, I thought that was pretty good. No, I think that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, Eric, do you find that it's harder and harder to feel empathy every time someone quits on you?
Oh, for sure. That's a really good question, for sure. Because it makes me, the more and more I work and get burnt out, the more and more it makes me feel like a hateful human being. And so like we talked about, comparative whatever. What is that? What was
Suffering.
it? Comparative suffering. Being like, I'm just like, really? Like, really? Is this like that's that much of a big deal to you? Like, I find myself getting to that point of kind of weighing, like, is this really justified? You like not showing up for work, or like someone like not feeling well, just because I'm at the limit of feeling bad for people and giving them the benefit of the doubt. I guess I would say it gets harder over time. But my question is, I guess, if you guys think there's a way to keep remaining positive and stuff like that, because I think everyone probably deserves the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent, and how you can remain to be a positive, upbeat person for those that aren't constantly like bailing on you and putting you through these tough times, like the reason that you're getting burnt out. If you think there's a way to keep up that positivity for those that need it.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Let's dig into what you just said, because when I asked you that question of does it get harder every time someone quits, yeah. I'm basically you're basically experiencing empathy burnout. It's harder and harder for you to feel the same empathy because people keep doing it to you. People keep making you people keep putting you in a situation where you're supposed to be empathetic, and it gets harder and harder for you to do it, and especially when you're comparing it to yourself. And so this is where the comparative suffering comes in, sort of in a different angle than how I usually think of it. I usually think of it as, oh man, my situation is tough. Like, I'm not happy with where I'm at right now, but so many other people have it worse. And so then I sort of cut myself off from allowing myself to feel sad or angry about my own circumstances, because I know that other people have it worse, which is terrible. It's not a good thing for you to do. But the way that you were talking about it was more of like, is it really okay for this person to be feeling so upset when I have it so much worse?
Yeah, that really just sounds selfish.
Regardless, it's not fair, and it's not good. It's not, definitely not right to compare suffering. And so when I compare and I stop allowing myself to feel, I'm actually just hurting myself in the long run. Because when you suppress your emotions and you don't allow yourself to completely go through that cycle, I've heard this term, it's called metastasizes. I don't know how to spell it, and I don't know exactly what it means, but essentially, if you don't allow yourself to feel your emotions completely, it affects you somewhere else physically in your body. So basically, like for me, an easy example would be, okay, I'm suppressing my emotions and now like my stomach hurts or something like that. You're essentially taking that stress that your emotions are supposed to relieve for you and just putting it somewhere else in your body. And that's what comparative suffering can do if you allow that to suppress your emotions.
Wow. I would say I experienced that. Like people who are really stressed, even just like, I don't know if this is the same thing, but taking all their stress into their shoulders or tensing up, or even just gritting your teeth in like some kind of stressful situation. I would say you made me think about kind of how selfish that kind of sounded. Like, I mean, ultimately though, it's very rarely, if like I'm really, really burnt out and I'm just becoming a hateful human being because I'm doing something that I hate, then I'm like,
I didn't mean it to be judgmental, because that's something that we all do, right? We all have those dark moments when you're really in your feels and you allow yourself to think something like that. And I actually would say that it's good for you to have those thoughts, have those emotions, and allow yourself to completely give into that so that you don't end up, putting it away somewhere else in your body and experiencing that stress elsewhere. which is the reason I brought this up, was to answer your question. How do you maintain your positivity and keep up that high energy, especially when the people around you sort of rely on it? I would say don't. When you're down, allow yourself to be down. Okay? Because when you do that, you're allowing yourself to be down so that you can come back up stronger than before, or at least to the same level that you were at before. If you don't allow yourself to be down, you're still going to be down, and it's just going to drag, and people are going to notice, and it's going to be even worse than if you just allowed yourself to be down, got through it, because there's always another side. There's always that other side of happiness that just you can't see it right now, you know? It's still there. You're still going to be happy again. It's not like you're going to forever be sad.
That's really good insight. Corey, what do you think?
I think one of, like, bouncing off of the allowing yourself to be like upset, sad, whatever your emotion that you're feeling when it comes like starts to feel overwhelming, is not only allowing yourself to be vulnerable, but allowing yourself to be vulnerable with other people as well and asking for help. Even if you feel like you don't need help, kind of telling people how you're feeling is also kind of like an outreach in its own. Just because people are aware then of what you're feeling. So, for example, one of my friend groups from college. So like this includes like Connor Newby, Zach Upsall, Christian Carilla, like that whole gang, right? Nathaniel. They are very much like that. When I express how I told them yesterday about what happened in the gym, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you okay? Like, if you need anything, please let us know." And like even that small gesture from like 4 or 5 people was huge to me. Like it's kind of nice to have that reassurance from somebody else, like, yeah, there's somebody that is also there willing to help me out if I need it. So I think being vulnerable is a huge aspect when it comes to kind of coping with being overwhelmed and burnt out. If that makes sense.
I think that does make
So,
sense.
so Eric, next time when you're feeling burnt out, what are you gonna try to do?
Well,
bottle it in until you die.
I think I have a bad habit of holding it in because being in this role, I feel an obligation to be like, okay, when shit is hitting the fan and people are hating their lives, like it doesn't make it any better if like I'm also hating my life working there. And if they see that, I'm supposed to be the person that is upbeat. It's who I usually am. At least that's the expectation I hold up for myself, to not make the situation worse, but try to focus on making it better. Because when people, I'm walking in and people are getting crushed, and they're like, "Oh, I hate working fast food." Usually I think it's just who I am too. Like I try to bring us out of that terrible environment, at least mentally, and be like, it's okay. Like this is an easy way to get through it right now. And maybe that's separate than me, like what we just talked about. Maybe that's possibly separate. But I think I don't necessarily have to show me being burnt out to other people. But yeah, like talking to other people, even just when like I have close coworkers that were with me, like, "Hey, dude, what's up?" I'm like, I'll be honest, I hate my fucking life right now. I fucking hate this. And just being honest like that. I think that definitely helps. For me, I know for sure talking about it helps. And I think I need to do more of that, and talking with friends, even just doing things that I like, because I think maybe a lot of people have this habit of getting too absorbed in what's going on right now in the burnout. Like start doing things that you like, and I don't know, just focusing more on just self-care in general too.
Okay. I like that answer. However, I don't like that you haven't resolved to not bottle it up anymore. Because you basically said, "Oh, I think I do this a lot and I'm going to try to talk to other people more." But in the moment you're still going to shove it down, right?
Yeah, because I don't think it does any good in the moment to have that be shown. Which
I understand.
I personally don't see a way around it unless you can convince me otherwise. But
Well, it's a bit of a dilemma, right? Because you have said that working this job turns you into a hateful human being. I would say it's a combination of that and you not allowing yourself to have that emotion while you're at work. And so you're bottling it up and it's just festering. And I find this is true with a lot of things. Whenever you don't let it out and you let it simmer and stew, like for example, when you have conflict with someone and you don't let it happen and you just let it and you stew on it and you think about it and becomes bigger and bigger in your mind, and then something little will happen with that person and it will just blow out of control. I think the same thing is kind of happening here. You're having this emotion, you're shoving it down so that you're not making the situation worse, and then you're later being even more hateful towards your job and how much you hate your life right now. But I totally understand not wanting to make the situation worse. If nobody's happy, then you feel like you have to be that positive energy that you often are. But I wonder if there's not a way for you to step aside for a moment. This fucking sucks. Step back in and be like, guys, let's get it done.
I think truly, I see myself doing that. I think I do that. Like, I'll go in the freezer, like, absolutely mutilate a box of some product in there. And maybe I should be saying this. Not destroying the product, but the box. The box is just freaking destroyed. I'll kick stuff, or I'll just go in there and I'll just scream because nobody can hear you in there. I'll just scream or something. Or even I mean, I don't know if this is suppressing an emotion.
I know. Okay, I'm just imagining Eric. I'm just imagining Eric being like, "Guys, I'll be right back. I need to go to the freezer and grab some things," and then she just. All right, guys, I'm back.
No, you're so right, though. That's what it is. No, it's kind of like accepting the fact that I'm feeling that emotion. Like, okay, I'm feeling this emotion right now, and like that's okay. And then just moving forward with that. And it's not really, it just, even that helps. So I'm not really showing that emotion, if that makes sense.
And this, believe it or not, ties into adaptability.
Yes, it does.
And being adaptable to stressful situations.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. So, I don't know if you think that's healthy. Like, it works for me.
It sounds a lot better than what I had pictured in my head.
Yeah.
Like, now that you've shared that more information, it sounds like you actually are sort of feeling those emotions and letting it happen, which is great and a lot better than oftentimes what I do. You know, I talk the big game, but oftentimes I do the bottling up. I just go, nope, can't do it right now. Gotta maintain calm, gotta stay, very even keel. And
poised.
Yeah, and then you just try to process it in your mind, and sometimes that works and sometimes that becomes additional stress. I think I've noticed, actually, like what you guys were saying earlier, that definitely like stress will just like build up in muscles. I'll have a sore neck or something, sore back, sore legs, and it's not from working out, and it's from me just bottling up emotions.
Yeah. No, stress has a physical factor on your body, and the reason why you usually get a stressed or like a sore neck or back is because when you become stressed, you tend to just like tighten up your back, and it just stays that way. And because that's like just a normal response to stress, is for your muscles to contract. And the easiest muscle to contract is actually your upper back.
Wow. I can feel it right now. No, but we're good friends when you just, Johnny, when you thought that thought and you didn't let me get away with it, like you called me out, like
Yeah.
not like a bad way. It was like question me. It was like, no, are you sure? But like, do you actually deal with your emotions? Like, I appreciate that, and that's good. I think that's a good lesson for anyone who's watching or listening, just to be a good friend and call people out on their shit.
Yeah,
And I
hold
think
them
it's just-
accountable.
It's necessary. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I think before we wrap up, I think we should talk about some of the ways that we deal with stuff that works for us. Like
Yeah.
for you, mutilating boxes in the Dairy Queen freezer and screaming your lungs out in a place where no one can hear you.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
For me, I find working out, releasing your physical energy, yoga, stretching. Actually, yoga is sort of a combination of two. Stretching I find to be very helpful, and doing deep breathing, which is another thing that Eric mentions, that he likes to do deep breaths and sort of be in a quiet place. If I can hit all three of those things with yoga, stretching, doing a lot of deep breaths in a generally quiet environment, that's like stress relief in spades.
That's good.
Those are really good, actually. Like, I've done yoga as stress reliever. I try to when I can. I've done like morning yoga routines. Those are like such a good way to like wake your body up.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess for me, what I have felt that has helped is exercise. Exercise definitely helps. I still try to go on runs at least 3 to 4 times a week. I've picked up gardening, so being outside with nature, to kind of decompress and also within that reflect. And also watching things grow in general is like super fun. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever like planted your own garden or anything like that, but it's like, it's really cool. Just like seeing something grow from nothing. I don't know. So like kind of finding like my inner peace within gardening has been really nice. Yeah, reflecting.
Is there any other ones for you, Eric? Besides those fun
Besides
ones we
beating up
mentioned
some
earlier?
boxes.
I'm a very angry person. Like I know deep down I have a very, very bad temper, and a lot of people don't realize that. And they're surprised when I tell them that. I'm like, no, yeah, just because like I know if I let it out, someone's gonna die. I just don't want to kill someone, you know. I don't want to burn this bitch down. No, I'm kidding. Not really kidding. So, I like to, definitely being alone, just removing myself from the situation whenever possible, and just taking a second just to think. I love, just being alone. Like you're just like going outside or just like looking at nature, just truly just being alone, completely in silence, and just being present in the moment. And I've just been really enjoying that, and for sure physical activity just makes me feel a different way. We've been talking about running and us like training for different things. Just it completely making yourself do something hard is just so amazing. Yeah, like Johnny, you've said before, that's meditative in its own way, and for sure that's amazing. But yeah, personally, I don't know what it is, just being alone, or even sometimes to just having social interaction with people that you love really helps a lot. You need that. So
Yeah, and there's one thing that I know for all of us is like a huge big ticket one, and that is being creative and actually doing this podcast. That's a huge one for all of us, I know.
Yes, it's so huge. The difference this makes in my life is immense.
I would agree. Um,
There's yeah, I mean there's something about just allowing yourself to be creative that takes you away from all of the stuff that makes you stressed. It just kind of gives you this freedom, this looseness that is just really fun, and it's I wouldn't have it any other way. So let's keep doing it.
well, yeah, I'm gonna do one thought, and then I also have like one other thing that is just like super quick. But I remember when I was doing like ceramics, like that was my outlet. Like
Yeah.
I would spend over 30 hours a week just in the studio being creative, like having that outlet was huge. I'm also within the video like description, I'm going to be posting a guide to burnout that was made by a psychologist and then medically reviewed by a psychiatric doctor. So if you want to take a look at that, please do. It has an overview of what it is, how we get burnout, how can we cope with burnout, and whatnot. So take a look at that when you get a chance.
We love it.
Solid. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Thank you, Corey. Johnny's got to go eat. He hasn't eaten all day. I'm going to go run, and Corey's going to, I don't know, probably play League of Legends. And
I don't play League of Legends. I'm going to go to my grandma's.
okay, anyway, thank you all for watching this episode of the Better Friends podcast. We're so excited to be back and in it. More to come. You could find us on Facebook and Instagram for social media. You can watch the podcast on YouTube, and you're listening on Spotify probably right now. So thank you all again for watching. We love you very much. We will see you next week on Monday.
Peace.